Alright, collective, I got a couple messages out for today, but this would be April 25th, 2024. So this was just off of 2 verses in the 5th chapter of the 2nd book of Chronicles, verses 13 and 14. And so that one is tells us the cloud is the reason. And so some back in fall 2021, specifically September, there were some downloads I got from the NIST, Hands to Hire, Big Cloud Upgrade to find the end user issues, OMB, and North Group. I think that was one of them. So the way this starts out is the Levites sing the Psalms during temple services. Note the services, the acting that create the reactions that keep the United Nations going in economic growth. And a lot of the stuff that I put out, I try to put in, I try to make it make sense, like as far as like what your role is in the economy and how your energy's putting off that. Because when I would go to church, and not knocking churches, but I didn't see a lot of that. It was like always just the message of be this kind of person in your home, and that was always great. But then it was like, but we spend most of our time outside of the home, or we did before this whole remote, thing happened. But so you have to have that balance between your work and your home life. And then COVID kind of made that mesh together, which was kind of weird because at the same time people were really pressing to like separate the two, like compartmentalize so you can clear out your energy. And that was kind of something going on like in the spiritual works and the therapy realm. But so when I talk about a lot of this stuff, it's really just to shine some light on like how you're showing up as an individual, and then just so you're more aware of like where your spirit's at and what your spirit, or in the spirit, like that you're living out. Like how is your soul connected? It's not just your flesh. And so there's just like a lot of these things. It's a lot of things. But today I had one come through, and I'm going to read it just how it came out. And it was about the Levites. Which in the spirit, this can be a representation of the general public, like the collective consciousness. So the Levites performed construction, maintenance for the temple. So you take note how the trade schools have recently, and I spelt that RESENTLY, so that might be significant, like recent, recycle, reincarnate, however you want to think of that. But I thought it was funny because I spelt it wrong, and then I spelt it right, RECENTLY, which is sent, like sent money, monetary, next to it. But so it's been recently inclining in attendance. Why does that matter? So mind over matter are thoughts. COVID-19 happened in 2020 to give us vision of whom actually holds the remote. So we do. We had control over our lives because God gives us free will. With people dwelling in their domains of their kingdoms, their houses more frequently, like, they're more in use. So the government has to provide contingencies for that. So in December, or 2014, on December 3rd, so I've said before, the numerical signal for communication is the 3rd. So HR 647, so that's human resources. 113th. So 113, another 3, and then 311. And that's an angel number. And then 2013 to 2014, they passed the ABLE Act. So the ABLE Act is achieving a better life experience. So this was something, an act already put in for experimentation in the economy before COVID even happened. And this is why COVID happened. And then it goes into the whole thing I've been talking about quantum economics and quantum computing and all these other things. So to add to that, Abel was also a character in the Bible. Not specifically in Chronicles, but I found it kind of miraculous how it all kind of just flowed like this, because then I was like, oh, Abel was in the Bible, like Cain and Abel. And then when I read it, then I was like, I found this really interesting. So Abel kneeled before a pink altar. Now, note that we just had a pink moon on the 23rd of April, 2024. So what that moon represents, the pink moon, it's representing renewal, self-discovery, a time to discard an old redundant habits that service nothing positive. And that's the spiritual meaning. And this is the other part. Abel's story teaches us that our actions and attitudes matter. Mind over matter. Our temples of thoughts lead by our emotions and feelings. Our hearts are our atlas, living with sincerity. So I can go on about the other roles of the Levites, but my main point is it stems from my previous teachings about who are we reincarnated in the spirit. Because God multiplies, for every death there is a rebirth. So the tarot teaches us these cycles like very well. Like you can die in the same body because you're dying an ego death, and you're sloughing off all the weight that keeps you just binded, of the world instead of being something to the world. And so you're just kind of enslaved and trapped in there. So that's mainly what the tarot teaches in a lot of ways, but you have to have discernment when you're trying to find those readers that resonate with you, because there's readers I had in the beginning of my journey, and I even pull my own cards, and there are I've outgrown those readers, and then I go into other readers. Then I've done things like Abraham Hicks, like Esther, and all that. And Esther's also in the Bible, and Abraham's in the Bible, and so I've done these different things, and like Neville Goddard, and the Key Society, and Manly P. Hall, like, just, so I've researched all these things, but I mainly was like on, the tarot because it talks about cycles and energy, which is what kind of helped me, but not all of it was mine. They say take what resonates, leave what does not. So with that said, I had mentioned previously that the servanthood of someone's spirit, has been mistook for slavery in the past. So this message is to abolish that for the reincarnated Levites while building our new temples. Like the Sikhs, and the Sikhs are, I forgot what part of the world they're from, but pretty much like they're very welcoming people. Like they bring in, like say if you were homeless, they bring you in for 3 days, and then they let you they feed you, and they do all these nice things. And I'm not saying you have to do this with all your people that do work for you in your home or however that all works, but just be welcoming, because I've seen comments of people on these lists, and they're like, oh, this plumber to this, or this, or this, or this, and like, tradesmen aren't just those types of people. I mean, we all have a trade, and I'm going to get to that part here in a minute, but be welcoming, to these people, coming in. Especially if you're someone working remote at your home, just be welcoming to those that are coming in to help you with your home. And I'm going to explain this here in a minute. So, be welcoming to the trades, because energetically there is a spiritual trade that takes place. So these individuals help you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually keep your kingdom from falling apart. Another note is to the Masonic Society that specifically deal with the trades of the craftsmen. So this is not just a worker of wood, because a lot of people think a craftsman, or they're a woodworker like Jesus was or something, but a craftsman is also a builder of a work of art. So like perfecting your craft. So this can go, we all contribute in some way to society. So be mindful and kind to those that do things differently, like that there's a purpose. Ask questions, don't make projections, but also don't annoy them. So this reading was not where I was originally going with this teaching, but I guess the Holy Spirit wanted my mediumship to kind of shine through today, and give this shout out and put the spotlight to the Levite spirits that we have in us. So the significance, I don't know why this one was kind of added in there, but it leads into the next one. It was really weird how this kind of, I don't even remember how I made this link, but it came in. It says the significance of the punch card during the Industrial Revolution, the Iron Age, and I did mention iron, which was in the Book of Chronicles, so that's how I made the link. So the punch card, and then something about the cloud, inspiration, and then look up the year 1725. So that's it for that one.